Good morning, kids. How are you? Oh no, we must always start the class with an assessment of Dr. Annette's hair. No, we don't. No, we don't. We need to start the class with today is day 48 and it is June 29th. Thanks for joining me. I'm so happy that you are here. Oh, I didn't start recording. And now I'm recording. And we have a great day for you today. And the reason why is even though it looks like it's a little bit cool and possibly rainy, and it might ruin my plans to go outside, I hope it doesn't. Because I'm planning on going outside and finishing our plant talk today. And I wanted to do it outside. And you know what? You know what I'm going to do? We're going to do it right now. We are. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go outside right now and do that because it's going to rain in a minute. And I want to quick do it before it starts raining. So you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start walking. I only have my socks on right now. You can also tell, going through the house, I'm not a hoarder. Don't look at that table though. Ah! Oh, and the coffee's on too. And the coffee's on. So I have to get back here for the coffee. There's my husband's urn right there. Okay. Let's step outside for a minute. And what I want to show you is, I just want to show you some of, look at this, isn't it nice? My flowers, my roses are still outside. Some of the things I wanted to show you were some of the things in nature. I'm going to take apart a rose, but not one of these beautiful roses here. One of the things we're going to talk about with the emotions is we're going to talk about being engaged, staying engaged. And we're going to talk about that, but I know it's starting to rain. I have to get my cushions in too, unfortunately. Take a look at a rose. Every once in a while, take a look at a flower and take a look at a rose. And one of the challenges I would like to make for you is regarding a rose, find the center of a rose. Now, there's lots of pictures and drawings of roses that we have, right? And we've seen them all over the place. And it's a wonderful, beautiful piece of nature for women to get, I think, and to buy, obviously, beautiful roses. But the things in nature are really exceptional, right? They're exceptional. You can see that in the exceptional things in nature. So the thing I want you to do is I want you to find the center of a rose. Just go right through the rose. See, you might even want to count the petals. How many petals did you have to go through in order to find the center of a rose? How many licks of a lollipop did you have to before you found the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? Okay. I also wanted to show you here, these are the plants here that I've been talking about and showing you the different leaves, right? So I've been showing you these leaves that have all of the seeds in them, right? So those are the leaves that have the seeds in them. You can see here is a flower. The flower here is separate from the seed, all right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that, all right? Here, down here, are my tomato plants, all right? We're going to take a look at a tomato. So right here, those are my tomato plants, all right? And we're going to take a look at a tomato pretty soon, all right? There's another one right there. Those are, I really planted them too close together. I did, but this is the first time I did it, and I wanted a bunch of tomato plants, and then I couldn't separate them, right? So you can see all the roots there are really planted together. Each one of those are separate. But we're going to see. We're going to just see what happens with those, all right? This is the tree right here that my one-time best friend gave me when my husband passed. And if you remember, so I don't see any flowers on this, right? I don't see any flowers. But there must be, because there are seeds here. Remember I pulled off the seeds right there for you? And you can see the seeds in there as well, right? Okay, so, and then I kind of want to just show, this is the, I can't remember, it begins with a W, but it's like a dogwood. Look at how this, look at the roots of this a little bit, of this tree. I'll back up a little bit. It's actually a bush, right? And if you look at the roots of it, what ends up happening is that these branches here, see how they droop down like that, right? See how they're all drooping down here? And I also wanted to show you this too, but I'll show you that in a minute. They end up planting themselves over and over again into the ground is what they do. And so it spreads, right? It spreads, and it spreads actually very quickly, which I love because I find it to be very beautiful, right? And we get the purple flowers in the spring, those dark purple flowers in the spring, red, fuchsia, whatever you want to call them, in the spring, but we also get them in the summertime, late summertime as well. So 2 times. But I wanted to point out that what it does is again, it goes and it spreads and it plants its branches into the ground, right? Into the ground, and spreads and spreads. We're going to talk about spreading plants and non-spreading plants. Here's something that somebody talked to me about, that he called them the pineapple weed, and how they spread. I kept it because I wanted to see what it looked like. I'm talking to you, so I want to see what it looked like, right? Here are flowers. These are flowers. So these little pineapple things that he called them pineapples, they turn into flowers, and those are cute flowers, but it's a weed. But this is a weed. Look at, there are the seeds. There are the seeds. So after the flower buds, look at that. It looks like dandelion seeds. And I pulled one of those out because they're so pretty. They actually really are pretty. And look, see? See that? Can you see it? Of course you can. Those are the seeds. Those are the seeds right there. All right? So we're going to go back inside, I think, and learn a little bit more about the plants. I wanted to show you, here are flowers. Now, flowers are interesting too, because flowers, I'm trying to, well, I guess, here are the seeds right here in the flowers. Not I guess, they are, right? So see that? See that for these yellow flowers? And I'll tell you another thing. Look at it. Look at how this one, see how that one is branching out like that? That's branching out like that because it's going to get more and more full. It just gets fuller and fuller. Not more and more full. It would be fuller and fuller. That gets fuller and fuller. So, yeah. And now you can see here, I have some weeds there that I have to take care of too. Now, I know they're weeds, but I decided that I wanted to see what was going to happen with them, right? Just like this pineapple thing, I wanted to see, for you guys' sake a little bit, I wanted to see what this was going to end up being. And for my sake too. Look at these nettles. These are nettles down here, right? And they have prickly things on the ends of the leaves. I'll bring it up close for you to see. You don't have to see me. Right? So can you see how prickly that is on the end of those leaves there? A little bit more on the bottom. A lot of times that's a signal to me that it's weeds, right? Because nobody wants prickly things. Nobody wants to touch them. And so a lot of times that's like, I'm spreading and I'm going. So let me go, and I don't want you to touch me. I have prickly things on, right? So weeds are determined. That's how we know they're weeds, because they're determined, just like I try and teach you to be determined. So, these here, these big tall plants, now I'm not sure, they may not be weeds. They could be, I don't know. I think that they are weeds, but I didn't want to pull them. I wanted to show you what we've got going on here outside a little bit, and then and then we'll talk about them. Right there, that plant, right, this one right there, right, that one right there. That's a mum. Those are mums, and those come back every year. Plants that come back every year are called Perennials is what they're called. Okay. And these plants right here that I was showing you that had the seeds in the leaves right here, all of these plants right over here, all of those are perennials too. And in fact, they probably were considered at one time a weed. But then what they end up doing is they end up crossbreeding seeds over and over again. And that in order to get a plant that can spread, be pretty, come back next year, and doesn't end up looking so much like a weed, right? Ugh. I tell you, in this daylight, I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to look. Maybe I should be putting makeup on. Okay, so back through the house. Oh, oh my gosh. My water's boiling. Oh, like probably completely out. That was a long time. Yikes. All right, so let's go back to sit down. See, a nice house, but not a perfect house, but a very nice house. No matter how people try and characterize you, it takes a lot of work, and still there will be people who will say, no, this is who she is. As long they will know the truth about who you are. I've got to do something about that coffee. Okay. So give me 1 second and I will be back, because I have a feeling I really boiled out all the water, and that's a little danger. So let me go put the titles back on, and I will be right back with you. Okay, I didn't boil all the water out, but I was close, and it is hot. That's hot. So, note to self, don't even start a small speech, Annette, because you have no small speeches. None. Zero. Okay, I won't. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to go back to our Joy Wilt's book and where we left off. Which was finishing up on these. I did put my glasses out here. Yay. And I'm pretty sure our last two emotions that we were talking about was, the last one was defeat, and the one right before that was disappointment. So this is where we're going to go. I think I'm going to go ahead and read right from here. As a reminder of all of the uncomfortable feelings that we were talking about. And I think we were already on chapter 3. But let's just do this. This is the last page. Anger, guilt, jealousy, grief, loneliness, rejection, humiliation, frustration, anxiety, fear, disappointment, and defeat. Now, these words are all in our sight words, right? Remember, they're all in our sight words. So if you need, we've got 6 pages, I think, of sight words. I think it's 6 pages. No, we have 8 pages of sight words now. So these words are in your sight words. Remember, sight words are words that we want to try and memorize and get quizzed on a regular basis. It will make our reading just really be very, very smooth. All right. It will help us just get to be better readers. That's all. The other thing I wanted to say about these words is I was talking about them in our critical thinking class. And the thing that I mentioned in our critical thinking class about these words is that it's going to tell you here what we're supposed to do. And what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to think about how we're feeling. And then we're supposed to think about why we are feeling that way. I keep seeing my little snaggle tooth. I couldn't get it fixed, but that's okay because that superior dentist, I'm pretty sure, is not qualified to be a dentist. You got to look at those people who are qualified to do the jobs that they're doing because, and if they actually do have the degrees that they have, because even though I think that universities have been railroading us, I still want to make sure that the person who's working on my tooth has, appropriate, yeah. And Dr. Russo, you were the other one who was working on my tooth, and Superior didn't, for some reason, take your name. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so that's what's going on with this snaggletooth. Still there. I don't know. But the reason why it's very hard for people, remember the two things to do is to find out what you're feeling, right? And then if you keep finding out when you're feeling these things, you'll find out why. You'll discover why you're feeling those things. And that is looking inside of yourself. And that is, as a psychologist, we call that looking inside of yourself. We call it introspection as a psychologist. But that's looking inside of yourself. I had to look to see if it's raining because I got to pull those cushions in too. So why don't we identify or say, why is it so hard to say how we feel and figure out why? Because these things hurt. Because they hurt us. When we're angry, we're hurt. When we're guilty, we're hurt. When we're jealous, we're hurt. When we feel grief or sadness, we're hurt. When we feel lonely, we're hurt. When we feel rejection, we're hurt. Hurt, 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 hurt. All those could all be hurt, 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 hurt. But we wouldn't know why we're hurt. We would know we were hurt, but if we didn't tell or figure out the emotion, we wouldn't know why we are hurt. Okay? All our feelings that make people feel uncomfortable, they are feelings that make people feel bad. Let's get this a little bit. I'll get me a little bit closer, I think. List some other feelings that make people feel uncomfortable or make you feel uncomfortable, right? Or make other people feel uncomfortable too. Because maybe sometimes it's easier for us to figure that out when we're thinking about how it makes other people feel instead of ourselves, right? Remember, although uncomfortable feelings make people feel bad, they can be good. Uncomfortable feelings can be good because they can make a person do the things that need to be done. They can also make a person want to grow and change for the better. And they can help a person appreciate his or her comfortable feelings. Now, we talked about that yesterday. The key to living a happy life is to appreciate and enjoy your comfortable feelings and learn how to handle your uncomfortable feelings. Absolutely true, Joy Wilt. Chapter 3, Handling Your Downs. Was this part of the Feravich collection too that you looted? When you are feeling down, don't stay there. Do something. That's why we went outside. That's why we went outside. And we're doing something that makes things better, right? We're not, when we say go do something, that doesn't mean go get in somebody's business. That doesn't mean go gossiping. That doesn't mean go make up fantasies and stories. That means discover what is really out there. Discover real people's feelings. Discover real sadness or grief, right? Discover other people's stories. Don't just go and don't stalk for your whole life somebody because you wish you were them. In any way, we have all kinds of people who are influencers. And I see all kinds of people who have been basically stalking other people's lives. Not basically, stalking other people's lives. And then what are they doing? When you go and you stalk another person's life, we do that with people who are influencers, right? We do that for people who are on the internet in all kinds of appropriate and inappropriate ways. We do that for television stars or movie stars, but not as much as we do now for those people who are stars on the internet. We are stalking them. And right now, I have people who have been stalking me for their whole lives. I went to my elementary school and walked in there and people said, "Hi, Annette. How could you possibly know me? And if you know me, why aren't my numbers bigger on my video? If you know me and you've been watching me, why don't you say, 'Hi, Annette, I really like your videos.'" Right? That is really getting to know people. That's really finding the truth. Some people, they do something, but what they're doing is really just creating lies and nonsense. It is important what you do. It isn't just that you're doing something, but you have to be doing something good. Don't be doing something that makes you or other people feel uncomfortable. You need to be doing something good. Begin by asking yourself, what emotion am I feeling? Oh, Joy Wilt, great advice. The very first thing you want to feel, that you want to ask yourself is, what emotion am I feeling? And then once you answer this question, you will have found out what you are feeling. That is the first step to handling your emotions. I feel lonely, right? So the first step is answering the question, what emotion am I feeling? And you know, it's not bad to take an assessment when you're feeling comfortable emotions either. It's not bad to look at when you're feeling comfortable emotions, because then you can also decide what you're doing and how you can keep that good emotion going. Or if you feel a bad emotion, you know how to turn that bad emotion into a better emotion or a good emotion, right? Okay. After you have learned what is causing you to feel the way you do, whoa, what happened to the second question? After you have found out what you are feeling, ask yourself a second question. Why do I feel lonely? Why do I feel lonely? That's the second question. So first of all, what emotion am I feeling? And then the second one is ask yourself why you're feeling that emotion. Once you answer this question, you will have learned what is causing you to feel the way that you do, right? So what emotion am I feeling and why am I feeling that emotion? Let's see what else Joy has to say. After you have learned what is causing you to feel the way you do, ask yourself a third question. What should I do about what I'm feeling? Here, what should I do about feeling lonely? Because that's what this person was feeling, right? Once you answer this question, you will have decided what you should do about your feelings. I'll call Jennifer and ask her if she wants to play. right? So what should I do about what I'm feeling? What should I do? What should you do when you feel angry, for example? What should you do? Should you punch somebody? No. Should you punch a wall? No. That's destructive, right? Maybe you should sit down and meditate. That would be a good idea. Take deep breaths. That's a really good idea. Stop. That's a really good idea. After you've decided what you should do about your feelings, you need to do it, of course. Do it is what you need to do. When you are feeling down, don't stop there. Do something about it. Jennifer, this is John. Can you come over and play? Now it's your turn, John. So she came over on the pogo stick. Pogo stick. Dangerous, dangerous toy. Oh, there's the thunder. I'll be right back. I gotta get my cushions in. Oh, come on. Okay, all the cushions in. Did you hear that thunder? I heard the thunder. But no rain yet. But boy, we've had a nice little rainy season to get our grass nice and green. But now it's a little cool in here. So I put my shawl on. My little granny shawl. Last page of our book. Yeah. Well, we have a conclusion. So that you will not forget the 4 steps to handling your downs. Here they are. Find out what you are feeling. Ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling? Learn what is causing your feeling. Ask yourself, what do I feel? Why do I feel the way I do? Decide what you should do. Ask yourself, what should I do about the way I feel? And then do what you decided to do. I've got that actually up there, and I want to put that up there too. Although it's it's not what we wanted. Although it is what we want to. We're going to go back to that in just a minute. So, things you can do to handle your downs. Do something. Ask yourself what you are feeling. Ask yourself why you are feeling that way. Ask yourself what you should do about feeling that way, and then you should do it. The conclusion. Comfortable feelings can help you have fun and enjoy life. Uncomfortable feelings can make you want to do the things that need to be done, make you want to grow and change for the better, and help you appreciate your comfortable feelings. It is normal and healthy to feel both comfortable and uncomfortable feelings. That's why every person, no matter who he or she is, has ups and downs. It doesn't only happen to you. Now, that might be a weird thing that happened to you. Maybe you have a weird story. Maybe you do have a weird story. Maybe it is weird that a bunch of geese chased after you. Maybe that is weird. I don't know. I don't know how many people have that story. I'm not sure. But people all have their own weird stories. Everybody has a weird story. I have a weird story. It was a humiliating story. It was when I came, and I was probably about 13 years old, something like that. So I was just a young girl, but just a teenager feeling, embarrassed and awkward. I think maybe I was 10. And the rope was getting caught in the propeller on the boat. And so my dad wanted me to jump off the boat and get the rope out of the propeller to make sure it wasn't going to get caught in the propellers. So I went to go jump off the boat, and you know how they have those fishing things on, right? So those silver things like that you're supposed to wrap something around. I don't know what you wrap, but anyway, they have those silver things that come up just like that, right, off of the side of the boat. So when I slid to go off the boat, my bottoms got caught on that, and I was literally dangling over the side of the boat. I was literally dangling over the side, and there was nothing I could do because how could I get up or down? It was quite like a cartoon. Who did that? And my dad, how did I get out of it? My dad literally had to lift me up. He grabbed me by my bottoms, pulled my bottoms off, and put me into the water. That's what he had to do. That was hysterical. We were laughing. We were with our cousins on the lake. We were laughing for hours. No, we're laughing for decades later. If they're watching this, they're laughing right now because they remember how that looked. I remember how I felt. Humiliated. That, I said, was the most embarrassing moment of my life until another one happened much later, which it is not, no, we're not talking about that one. We're not talking about that one. But it wasn't bad, but it was embarrassing, but it wasn't bad, but it was embarrassing. Okay. All right. So we are done with Joy Wilt's book. And on Tuesday, we're going to start a new topic. But I also wanted to, because we still have a few more minutes, I wanted to show you something else. So come with me, because we've been talking about, actually, I'll show it to you on this first. I wanted to go ahead and finish up our discussion on the life cycle of a plant. As we've been talking a little bit about science, I knew we were going to finish Joy Wilt's book. All right, that's not what I was supposed to have up there. That's not what I'm supposed to have there either. Oh, well, I know the reason why that is. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to take you backwards through this a little bit. So we can take a look at, and I'm going to make sure that I have all of the thank yous out there for these slides that I have, that I got most of the information from internet links that I have. So I'm very appreciative to those links. I was going to say something about Google, though, that I'm not happy with, but we'll leave it there. So this is the tree that we just saw out there that is called, I can't remember what it's called. It begins with a W, though. I'll get it, though. I'll tell you what it is. It is the red Wigella is what that is. The red Wigella. So that's what you saw outside with those. And I showed you those little flowers that I had as well, if you remember. So there were the pictures of the flowers there, which are, oh, where'd those flowers go? I don't have them anymore. Sorry. Back to the slides. That tree out there that I said that my friend gave me that we saw these seeds on, right? I pointed those seeds out to you already on that tree. That tree that had all those great big giant green leaves on that you saw actually ends up having flowers on. Not ends up, starts with flowers. And then all the flowers in very early spring, that's what that tree looks like. And then the flowers disappear and the seeds form. That's a tree that has both male and female, basically sex gametes is what they are. They've got both the ability to produce seeds in the same plant. Why? Because they have male parts and female parts. It's how we produce a seed, whether we're human, whether we're a dog, or whether we're a plant. Every living thing produces seeds the same way. It has a seed that has to get pollinated in order to make more seeds. It's the same that happens in humans. It's a different pollination system, but it's still pollination. But some plants have both male and female parts to make so that it can make and produce the seeds and pollinate those seeds. Some plants have both. Some plants have one or the other. What are those called? I forgot. They're called imperfect. That's what they are. They're called imperfect plants. Isn't that interesting? Imperfect plants have either male or female parts, but not both. So the plants have to be close together, like, for example, holly plants, right? One produces berries, one doesn't. What happens? They have to be close together so that you can get another plant seeded, so that they can get pollinated, so the seeds can so the plant can get pollinated. I'm going to show you a little bit more about that. But again, remember, I'm not an expert biologist or botanist, right? Plant expert. I am not a plant expert. That's for you to be doing. I'm a psychology expert is what I am. Yeah, that's what I am. But I'm also a teacher, and I also taught young students, and I know what it takes to learn something. That's why I'm teaching you this, because I know what it takes to learn something. Okay, let's get back to our learning something, Dr. Feravich. You and all your talk about learning and being a great teacher, let's learn something. The stamen part, which I mentioned, but I didn't mention this part. The stamen part of this flower diagram, or any flower that has a male, would be the male part. If it has an anther and a filament, it has a male part. If it has a pistil, which has the stigma, the style, the ovary, and the ovary protects the ovule, which is the seed, which is where the seed is. The anther on the male side produces the pollen, and the pollen, the stigma collects the pollen. The stigma collects the pollen, so the pollen can then go down into the ovary, to the ovule, and that's how you make more seeds. So the plant always has then these parts. It ends up with these parts. Sometimes you end up with both the fruit and the flower in the same plant. Sometimes the fruit and the flower are in separate plants. You can see there's a root system where there's a primary root system and a secondary root system, those little tiny roots that spread out. You can watch a video on how fast those roots grow. I saw a video on it. I thought it was a little boring myself. You can go find it yourself if you want to. So the flower can provide the pollen that's necessary in order to fertilize and make fruits. And the fruit, what does the fruit do? The fruit contains the seed. Sometimes the fruit is actually a fruit that we eat, right? Like a melon, a watermelon. And inside there are the seeds, right? The actual real seeds. Those are really, believe it or not, taken right from the plant. They are. Let's go check out a couple other things that I have for you, okay? I'm going to go and make this just big for you so you don't have to necessarily get seasick since you already saw everything in the house anyway. I'm going to quick show you one more thing and then we are all set. Okay, so I have you back here in my kitchen again, and I don't usually cook in the kitchen or do things in the kitchen in a dress, but I got a few dresses. I got a few new dresses, and I was happy about that, but I'm not mentioning the name because I am not happy with that company at all. So I'm no longer mentioning the name, and I'm no longer shopping there. Which is sad, because I got great furniture, but I'm speculative on where they got their furniture. Cherry. This is a cherry, a delicious cherry. It better be delicious because I spent $16 for this bag of cherries at Fresh Time. Thought it was way overpriced. Talk about food expense. What happens when I cut down in the middle of this? What happens when I cut this cherry in half? What's in the middle of the cherry? That is the seed. So this area outside of the seed is protecting that seed. Right? There's the seed for the cherry. But look at this. Here I brought out the tomato. And these are pretty old. I'm sorry. So these are going to smush all over the place when I cut into it. But did you know, when you take some time to not be in other people's business and be in the here and now, you can discover things like this, right? Did you know that those are the seeds in the tomato? Did you know that? You probably did, but I bet you didn't know. Well, the cherries are a little sour. I'm not a sour fan. But did you know that it was that the tomato plant would be a perfect plant because it has the ability to pollinate. I'm assuming it's a I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming because it's got the fruit on it and it's got the flower on it. So it has the ability to pollinate, and it's got the seeds on the same plant, which is the ovule. And so we can see that basically looks like a tomato plant where it's got the flower and it has the fruit as well. And the very last thing that I have here is the life cycle of, well, it shows a sunflower, but it all starts with the seed, right? And the seed then begins to sprout into something. And I think I showed you the plants the other day. I did show you my plants outside. It's raining. But what I didn't show you seeds. And so that's really quick. Before we go off the air, I just want to show you the seeds that I have here. So these are the seeds that I planted. But did you know that when you eat a pea, that pea is the seed? Did you know that? And so I know it seems, to me, it seems like it's simple. Maybe you did know that. Those are dried out, ready to germinate seeds. What does it need? What did we say germination was? It is when the seed gets sufficiently watered, right? And then begins to sprout. There are the seeds to peas. Did you know that the seeds to corn, here are carrot seeds. Oh, this is a little different. Those aren't actually the seeds. That here in butternut squash, the seeds are right in the middle there, and they take those seeds out. And if you took those seeds out and you dried them out and you germinated them at the appropriate time, you would get squash. Here are more peas. What else do I have? Here are all of my tomato seeds. They're little teeny tiny seeds is what they are in those tomato seeds. Why? Look at them. They're little teeny tiny seeds. Don't expect to go into a tomato plant packet of seeds and find giant seeds. But I do expect to find seeds that are giant in my corn packet. Yeah, what'd you guys do to my corn that my corn's not growing? Oh, this isn't good. I left them out in the rain and they got a little bit icky. They got a lot icky. But they're just like corn, other than this is moldy corn. This is Dr. Annette, or Dr. Annette Feravich, or Dr. Feravich. I am here in the Early Bird Classroom. I will be back here on Tuesday, July 4th. We might have a history day all day on July 4th. I don't know what we're doing. I'm not even sure what we're doing in our philosophical classroom later on today. But I do know that our Bookless classroom is coming up, and I do know that we are reading Hurry Freedom. It is such a good book. Thanks for joining me. I will see you here on July 4th. Thanks.